Back to school and planner season is readily making its way towards us. If I calculated cost that it usually goes for in the UK, which is £38, and divided it by the amount of days in the year, I roughly would be paying 10p per day to use this planner. If I could really dedicate myself to this planner for 1 year and really make the most use of it, then I can really justify spending that amount of money. And I have expanded from using the weeks to customized version of their A5 notebooks. As you can see, I've cut them down to week size. And this year I branched out even more and tried out the Hobonichi Cousin. So this is my current Hobonichi stack. From my experience, I find there are 3 main reasons that make Hobonichi an attractive purchase. They are adaptable, they are challenging, and they are of good quality. How do these notebooks function in back to school and work contexts? When we're looking at the Hobonichi weeks, they come in these really slim wallet-sized proportions, which makes them really easy to carry around. The added bonus of being made with Tomoe River paper makes them extremely light to carry. I used to be a devoted Muji, and I've tried Midori planners as well. This is significantly lighter, so if you're looking for a way to lighten up the load of your backpack, this could be for you. If you're in school or you have work deadlines, you can section up the different quarters of the year or terms in the year and have a proper visualization. This is what the main section looks like when it is completely empty. This is how I've adapted it. I really love decorating my planner spreads. It gets me starting the month from a really creative place, and it convinces me to continue going in that month. And I can see how this could be a really fun way of writing in key subject topics and being able to track exactly what you learn. And then we come to the weekly pages. They come with this planning section here, which most people draw in a column here, but there are 2 base points. There's also this additional column here on the notes section of the weekly spreads. This is a standard use with my main events on the left-hand side, my to-dos in this section, and any additional notes and decoration on the other side. I've seen people also apply mood trackers in here. So let's write a simple formula for a back-to-school setting. Any due dates written on this section. I would have any homework due written in this section, and any additional themes or subjects that you feel like you need to do extra revision on this section. I would leave this page for maybe the most interesting thing that you learned throughout the week, your overall feeling of how your academics are going, and a message of motivation. I think this is a good formula for a student because you need to balance how you reward yourself with how much ambition you put into your academics. You know what? I actually think it would be worth putting your motivation at the very top here, at the top of the week. On Sunday evening, do your decorations for the following day, and you'll have this message to see on Monday morning. While it is quite difficult to keep your eyes open, at least you'll have something nice to look at. If you're starting a new job and you're considering bringing Hobonichi into your system, you can use the same formula for your workplace, your key deadlines, the key themes, and key notes. And honestly, keep this page for yourself. Make it personal. Reward yourself. Track the treats that you give to yourself. How many times how many ways that you've taken care of yourself. It is really important that we balance what we want to achieve with what we already have achieved. The minimal design of the Hobonichi weeks also makes it so that you can actually use this as a journal or memory keeper instead of a planner. I find what happens in the Hobonichi weeks and makes it a really attractive purchase is that this is my catch-all planner. If I'm on the go and I really need to write something up or write something to remind myself on what to do or how to think or what to research, this is a really great option. I can transfer any of the main notes that I put in this into more extensive notes and reflections in my other notebooks. What follows the weekly pages are these blank note pages. In the weeks, you have, I think, about 70 of them, and in the week's mega, you have about 3 times, I believe, the amount of note spaces. I took inspiration from the way that Hobonichi designed this. I just wanted to adapt it into a full notebook here. I like having it separated because then I can mentally switch from planning to doing and thinking. If you are not worried about bulking up the size of your Hobonichi weeks, I would suggest getting the mega instead of doing this. But if you're up for a creative challenge, you can watch my YouTube tutorial on how to cut down a notebook to this custom size. This is the way I've decided to do it last year. As you can see, I added a picture of whatever object, experience, or food it was that I really enjoyed throughout the year. Wrote their name, and it becomes this really interesting catalog that summarizes how I felt and what inspired me that year. I think this would be really great, for example, if you were doing a study on different authors. Let's say you would put the picture of the book, let's say Maya Angelou, and so on. Then you would write what you learned from the book and why it affected you so much. Hobonichi likes to include these unique numbers at the back, so you'll know that your planner is uniquely yours. And so we have these 2 snapshot versions. Why buy the big, bulky one? This is the in-depth version of what is found here. Things that are written superficially in here with the quick ideas is explored much more deeply in my cousin. From the same concept of that 38 pounds divided by 365, I needed to apply that same amount of thinking to justify using the Hobonichi Cousin, because for its price point, I needed to make sure that I made the absolute most of it. So what separates these 2? Not only is it the size, the sheer volume of these 2 things are incredibly different. And also, if you're a person who decorates, the Cousin is very heavy. I use this red band from Midori to keep my Hobonichi Cousin closed, because if I don't, it literally bulks up so much. And if I put it side by side, mind you, this is only half of the year. There is still half of the year to go. You can imagine that this is going to bulk up twice as much. The way that I would use this in a school or work context is have this with you in the office or in school, and this belongs at home. Start your day writing in this with your morning pages, your intentions for the day. Go about your day carrying this around, writing quick notes, and going back to end the day in this notebook. These are my gratitude pages, and honestly, I would keep this also in your school or your work system, because anything that is stressful can easily build up into quite negative feelings. And sometimes you'll notice that if you stare at a calendar, it just fills you with this feeling of dread. And so I play with the psychology of that, and I did the reverse. I use this as a place of gratitude. Good things are happening in my calendar, and my brain adapts to that idea, so that when I see a calendar of due dates or key events happening in my life, I don't feel so intimidated. And here's an example of the one in June, May. You can see I'm really filling this out. Then come the time slot weekly spread. So sometimes when I spent too much time writing down notes or referring to notes, I noticed that I would be falling behind on time actually spent on doing past papers or mocks. These past papers are actually the ones that will propel your knowledge to stick with you, the same as it is like when you explain to a friend the concept of whatever it is that you're learning. You want to be active in your studies and not passive. As you can see here, I also like writing about my inspirations throughout the week, stickers that I enjoy. These are stickers that I've designed. I also write a quick summary on this side of how I felt throughout that week. For the daily sections, this is quite an intimidating page for some people, and so If you are fresh to the journaling or planning community, I would not recommend something so big and bulky. Having more space to fill makes it more intimidating to approach, and so I would stick to something simple like the weeks. But if you are a veteran or someone who does want to upgrade your skills in writing and become more comfortable with this, a simple formula for this, for example, would be you would have a section where you block out the morning. Around midday during your lunch period, you can a second entry of how you're feeling throughout the day, and a big section at the end that kind of summarizes how you feel now that the day has come to a close. It also sets up ideas and lessons on that page that can be carried over onto the next. As you can see, I really like playing with orientation, and it just makes it a more fun read. It almost feels like a magazine that I'm flipping through of my own life, and I think by the end of the year, when this thing is really filled out, it would be really fun to read this as if it were a magazine. At the back here is a timetable. You can put your subjects in here and block out the times that you have those subjects. So you will always have a timetable with you, especially on your study desk or on your desk in the mornings. Out of all of these, I do believe that the weeks is the best value. It is a great starting place, and it will help you test the waters if the system is actually made for you. Alternatives to the Hobonichi, I highly recommend Muji notebooks. I've been using those for years. Really reliable paper, really affordable, and gets the job done. And it has most of the essential features that you see in Hobonichi. If you are a student or someone who really loves learning or does some additional academic studies on the side, I would recommend getting a supplementary notebook. It doesn't have to be Hobonichi though. Other good brands that I can recommend are Midori and Stalogy if you want something in a higher price point. The Hobonichi Cousin is really something that can become quite time intensive because of the sheer size of the page. I would say that this is third on the rank of these notebooks. Yeah, let me know if you think that these prices can be justified and what colors you're hoping to see in the new release. I believe that they'll start coming out with the previews for 2027 at the end of August or September, so hopefully they come out with really nice options. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it gave you some inspiration. I have some really exciting news to share. I will be live on BBC Radio 4 on Monday, July 13th. I will be speaking about fountain pens, their surge all of a sudden all across social media, and what it means for the young and online community. To see that I've gone from being on Hobonichi News to BBC Radio, I am so grateful. Thank you so much for having me. It will also be available on the podcasts and BBC Sound thereafter. Till next week, bye bye.